Hello, and welcome to Good Morning Nintendo, where we usually come together each week to talk about video game news and what we've been playing. But as you can see, Dom isn't here this week, so instead joining me is my brother Zach. Say hello, Zach.
Hello, Zach.
I should have expected that. Oh, we're going to be doing something slightly different. So, Zach and I have both been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So, I thought it would just be fun to sit down, kind of do like an early impressions or like discussion of what we think about the game so far. So, Zach, how far through the game are you?
All right, so I just finished the Shropshire arc. Uh, it is, I think, like the sixth area that you can get into. Uh, and that one actually had a bit of a compelling story for me. I wasn't really impressed with the storyline of the game so far, but they got dark on that one, and I was pretty happy with it.
I'm about like 15-ish hours into the game. I'm on the second arc in England. I mean, I finished Granter Bridgeshire, and I'm up in Repton right now. We're connecting with the character's brother Sigurd. All so that's about how far I'm in. Zach, how much experience do you have with Assassin's Creed games?
This is the first Assassin's Creed game I've played,
So
to be honest.
like, what are your high level thoughts on it? Like, have you heard things before from people in the past, or what? Like, just what's your first impressions as it coming to as a newcomer?
All right, so I've always heard about Assassin's Creed games. It was one of those big titles that I never really got into. Uh, I heard things had like taken a dive at one point, but I really wasn't paying any attention. And one of my friends recommended that I try out Valhalla. And with our family's history of just mostly being Northern European, the idea of playing as a Viking really appealed to me. And just like going around raiding England, that sounded just like a blast. So yeah, jumped in. I, it's been a while since I've played some of these bigger titles uh, that have these large open worlds. And so initially, when they introduce whenever I go into one of these games that introduces the overworld, I get a bit overwhelmed at first. And I definitely felt that entering like the first Norse town in Valhalla, where you have fighting, the drinking contest, the dice games. You still have your missions to follow, and then there's like a bunch of markers everywhere for like treasures and stuff. And I would be like, all right, let me take a breather and then come back into this. But yeah, not the uh, everything has been really fun so far. I've been really enjoying the game.
All right, so quick brief history for me on what games on my history with Assassin's Creed, because I'm pretty sure I talked about it on the podcast before. Is like I was really big into the Assassin's Creed 2 games, all the Ezio games, loved the Ezio games. Got to 3, I hated 3 to no to like what one of like the biggest games that I hate the most. And it took until Audit and like that kicked me off the series hard until all we got the major reboot of the games with Origins and Odyssey. All Origins I didn't play because it was made 2017 was the great year of Nintendo, and then in 2018 I tried playing Odyssey, but it just didn't click for me. And it took until you talking about Valhalla and how much you had been enjoying it for me to jump into this. And you kind of mentioned something that I want to get to earlier. Well, that I want to get to, and I mentioned we kind of talked about it yesterday. All I mean, we're third generation American on our dad's side, which is from Norway, and then we're first generation American on our mother's side, which comes from England. So I'm like us being like kind of nerds talking like enjoying D&D and like medieval fantasy. It's kind of I feel like this game is kind of like right up our alley or for things that we would be interested in.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this year in general, I've just been more and more attracted to anything Viking related. I like to do the axe throwing. I bought myself as soon as I started playing the game, I bought myself a drinking horn, uh, just so that I could uh chug mead while I'm playing Valhalla and just like really kind of try to connect with Eivor as much as possible. So yeah, no, there's a lot of things where I'm just like, yes, give me this world. I want to live in it.
And what the funny thing for me, which what talked about for you, is just like being in North America, you don't often hear my name being used in like its actual definition. A Dane is someone who hails from Denmark. So in this game, it's kind of funny for me because like the first thing, like early on in the game, I was looking at the menus and I was like, oh, you have your Dane accents. It's like, how does the game know that my name is Dane? I haven't put that information in anywhere. And then it was just like, then it kept further on and like, it's like you Dane Dane. It was just like all like the times it was just like, oh yeah, that's right, my name actually means something else. So it's just like it's led to like funny moments for me, like thinking it's just like there's an army of Danes over the hill, or like stop Dane, and I was just like, this game is like a little silly to me.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy it though. It's like especially when it's just like, you there, Dane. I am no Dane. It's like uh just like the main characters are Norwegian, so like they keep getting called Danes because all the Saxons are familiar with Danes being the primary invaders, and uh, their their group is a bit of an outlier in terms of that.
But I mean, like, so I want to get into like how feel about this game a little bit. Like, going into it, like it feels a bit like Viking Breath of the Wild, if Breath of the Wild was janky as hell, because like Ubisoft games have like a reputation for for being a bit janky with like their quick turnaround times. But like I think the thing that like no one really mentions is like maybe it's just become more of a staple than I thought it was. But like the you don't have you can climb anything in this game. Anywhere you see, you can go. It's just like I kind of expected there to be like the yellow rope telling you which way to go on, or what you can climb, or like specially marked sections of walls being the only thing that you could climb. Is just like you can just go anywhere, you can do whatever you want. Exploration in this game is just really fun. And like I'm not sure about you, I think you had mentioned to me how you had left a bunch of stuff behind in Norway that you hadn't done yet, but like I went and cleared most of like the Norway section all before I finished the story over there.
Yeah, I need to go back to Norway at a certain point and just clear out that whole section of the map, which apparently you can do at some point, but
Oh,
I haven't gotten there yet.
oh, you.
Um,
No, here's the thing. On your, I don't know which button it is because you're playing on computer and I'm playing on PS5. Is you go to your map screen and then there's a button that you can press. For me, it's the triangle button, so it's like the same button that it might be the same button that you use to mount your horse, or in your case, the wolf, because you got the fancy edition.
oh
All
yeah.
and it opens up an atlas, and it's just like you can either travel to England or you can travel to Norway. So it's just like it's something that the game doesn't really tell you, but I think you can go back to it at any time.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's a couple things that this game doesn't tell you how to like set things up. Like, I don't think there was ever a tutorial on how to use the G wheel. I call it the G wheel, but it's like a wheel menu that comes up and it lets you summon your mount anywhere. And I only recently found out about that after going to one of the stables. I was just like, oh, I could just call my mount wherever I'm at. I mean, that would have been useful when I was like running 1,000 meters to the last quest objective.
Yeah,
So
I found that shortly after I arrived in England. I was just like, oh, that would have been useful in Norway when I like was climbing up when I was taking this road the long way around to the mountain or whatever. But oh yeah, like that's the thing. That's the reason why I enjoy playing on controller. It's just like there's a lot less buttons than on than on a keyboard. So that's why I usually stick to console. But I've had fun with it. Is Do you have anything that you want to shout out or really talk about it about the game?
Uh, God, I'm going to mimic the talk about the parkour uh of our Viking parkour expert, because like with the climbing anywhere, I think even though you can have them out half the time, climbing over something is twice as fast than just like following the roads with your mount. I think Avor's greatest power is the ability to just climb anything he wants.
I mean, I'm mainly all okay. I don't think that's all it. I was gonna go somewhere else with that. But yeah, like I've had fun with it. It's just like and well, I mean, you're not someone who typically plays a lot of these big open world games. Like, what do you think of like the side things to do, like the raiding, the going finding the treasure, and all, and like the mysteries?
The rating is easily my favorite part of this game. It's like just coming up on a monastery, pressing E, and then like your longship comes in, all your Viking unload, and you just like sit there in the chaos, just like taking down Saxons left and right. Ah, and then like you go in, steal like a bunch of treasure that is laying around, and it's great. They also made it so that all the there's a good selection of enemies, so you always have to come up with like a different tactic for each type of enemy that you come across. Like the spearmen, you can get like two good hits in, and then you have to like dodge around their blocks. The yeomen have been a particular pain in the ass for me because they put up their shields almost instantly. So I've had to like develop tactics to take them down more quickly. Uh,
I mean, you
but
can
yeah,
knock it away with a heavy attack.
well, yeah, I see. I didn't know that.
I
What
mean, like
what I
you can knock it away, and then being like you have to like heavy attack, then quick get in there with a light attack, and then like they'll bring the shield back around, and it's just a matter of like doing that. Like they're a bit like damage more spongy to me, but
Yeah,
oh,
see, I don't have the patience for that nonsense, so I just use one of the special abilities to knock them down and then curb stomp them. Um, which like I think that's another thing about this game is that there's a lot of abilities that are worth exploring and using. I particularly am a fan of the wolf one where it just like, oh, there's a big guy with a shield. Let me just sick my wolf on him and then come and like stomp his face in. There's a lot of ways that you can like change up combat to what might personally fit your play style.
yeah, that's the thing that I like about this game. Is it's like whereas like a lot of RPGs like have your standard skill tree where it's just like you get one ability after one ability. What you have in this game is what I would like to refer to as like a Final Fantasy X-esque sphere grid, where like every level you every time you level up you get two new skill points, and like you go in and like a lot of the times you won't just be getting like a new big skill in it. Like you won't just like, oh, now you can run it up and like push someone aside or whatever. It's like each time that you add like these little skills that are just like point two, like plus two to health, or point two to whatever stat, and it's just like what, and like it's very large, and like only every dozen or so, I mean every half dozen or so nodes you might get a new ability, but at any point you can actually go in there and reassign all of your abilities. Because you one of the things that you had told me about this game was how much you had been enjoying the two-handed all dual wield ability. So I was just like, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna think I'll pour all my skills towards getting that one ability early on, and that was a bad choice. Like I just didn't like how slow the those attacks were. Even having the dual wield ability, I thought it was gonna be like a lot quicker. Oh,
Uh, which weapons did you end up getting to use that ability?
I had like I had like a two-handed sword, and like I had like early on in the game I think you get like this. I think it's called a bone biter axe or something, but like all it was a two-handed axe that I got like while we were still in Norway, and I just like and I went and bought the sword from uh I went and bought the sword from my merchant in town. So it was just like they were very base level weapons, but like it was like trying to do and get dual wielding or get the dual wielding two-handed weapons was like a mistake in my book, and like so I was just like, okay, I can just go in and reassign all of my points. So like I cleared out my whole skill tree, and then like I went a completely different way with it.
Which way did you end up going with?
So I kind of went more into the wolf tree because like it's I mean like it has a lot of distance stuff, and I've enjoyed using the bow, but like it's also I think it's also lends itself to more quick and varied gameplay, whereas the bear tree is just like you're gonna be able to take some damage, and you're gonna hit things hard, but like you're not exactly super agile.
Yeah, you're not agile, you're not stealthy. I poured all of my points into the bear tree because part of the promotional part of the if you buy the super fancy version, you get all the berserker gear, which is all barrel lined. So there was a lot of reasons for me to just like dump stats into the bear tree because it increases how effective your armor is as you're putting points into whichever tree that you want to go with.
All right, so I want what this kind of lends itself into what I'm talking. What I want. What else I want to talk about? What difficulty did you choose when starting your game?
Oh, I'm a filthy casual, so I just put normal on everything.
Uh,
Uh,
Even the stealth section, because
yeah, even the stealth section. I hate stealth in video games, but part of me cannot click easy on the stealth section. I was just like, let me just see how well I do in the first place. And like it's pretty easy to sneak around even on normal settings. And going all bear like all bloody raider, you can still sneak around a bit, but at a certain point I'm just like, all right, I'm done sneaking. I just want to kill everyone here now.
yeah, like so I chose easy on both modes, all because like I was just like the thing is like I wanted to kind of let myself get into the game first when I started it up. So I'm thinking I might change the difficulty to normal because like I haven't gotten much of a challenge doing anything except some of the side mysteries. But the oh, so I think I might change that. But I was really glad that they had a easy difficulty oh for the stealth because I hate stealth sections, and but like it's funny for me is it's like you can like run up at a guard and they on easy and they like won't notice at you until you're like within like 3 feet of them. So it's just like
Nice.
they are completely oblivious. Oh, it's just like let's see what else do I want to talk. Do I want to talk? Oh, the side have you had any like fun interactions with like the side stories, the side mysteries, anything there that's like really stood out to you?
So I there is a lot of reason to just explore all the mysteries, artifacts, and treasures that are in very random locations of the map. I I've had like a few missions.
One sec.
I've yeah,
What did you say, Dad? Oh, cool. All right. Sorry.
uh, I've done a few of the mysteries. The bigger ones have been like trying to identify like these weird patterns in a bunch of Stonehenge-esque rock formations. Uh, and that ends up giving you extra skill points if you do those. Uh, a lot of the little side stories have been like cute little try to figure out this tiny little puzzle thing. And usually there's a pretty good reward for doing some of those side missions. The like I talked about how much I like using the wolf ability. That comes from a side mission. You end up having to save this wolf from a well, and now it just wants to follow you around and eat whoever you're fighting.
Me, like my favorite stories are like the ones where you get to interact with people. It's just there was one in Norway where it was just like there was a couple that was having trouble with their all romantic life and everything, and they were just like, we need help. And it was just like, and like you end up destroying all their stuff and like burning their house down and everything just to like get them in the mood. I'm just like, that's a fun and like different thing to do, and it like only took like a minute or two to do.
Yeah, no, I did the same one. That one was hysterical. Ju- j- I it is kind of I I did one where I found the maker of Worcestershire sauce. But like he needed eels, so he had to go fishing for eels, and it tasted like absolute garbage. And he was calling it he was in some other part of the map, and he was gonna call it this Shire sauce. And but it's like, I'm gonna move to Worcestershire. But who would ever name a sauce after that place? And I'm just like, yep, funny, funny, funny. I like all the little like I like little minor history jabs like that.
A thing that I've really kind of enjoyed is like the commentary on like on Christianity, because like I like for me like it kind of all like it's something that like I kind of find like Christianity is kind of like we were both raised Christian, so it's just like it's Christianity has like all these weird things about it, and like you don't really see like really think about it as someone who's grown up with it a lot, but it's just like like right as you're sailing into England, they're just like their Christ died on a cross and now they worship it. It's just like that seems a little silly to me. It's just,
Yeah, and it's like the culture clash as well. It's like they just leave their treasures right in the open, completely unguarded. Like they don't even try to hide them. And it's just like, yeah, no, we England. I I've been watching Vikings as well. It's just like that whole like notion of just like England puts their most valuable possessions in places of worship where they preach peace and like understanding and stuff like that. Like and then you have like these battle crazed like Vikings. It's like our version of heaven is a place where we can fight forever. And it's just like uh it it really like you really understand how big of a culture gap there is between these two people that were only separated by like an ocean. Oh, well, not an ocean, a sea.
it yeah, it's just like, and like it's interesting because like your group saying like, oh, we want to pacify England or whatever, but then like but like to pacify England you're going across and raiding everything as well. It's just like that, it seems like a bit contradictory. Oh, but it's just like the all, so like the different like like seeing the different all differences in like opinions and like worldview is kind of something that I've been enjoying so far.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just like the focus on. I mean, because Norse mythos is basically pagan in nature. I like all of their gods are nature worshippers, which um has a big contrast with Christianity. And Christians try to make pagans look evil at the beginning, like when they first clash, because like Christian, a big part of Christianity is like trying to assert control and maintain uh, a central hierarchy in terms of like trying to keep everything together. It's just like, oh, pray to God, like so far off yonder, but like paganism is all very like um uh intimate imminent. It's all very close. It's like whatever is around you is has some sort of like divine aspect to it. Like when you're in the middle of a thunderstorm, it's like Thor's testing us. It's like they have a specific god that they refer to for different acts of nature. So I think it's interesting having that come in and clashing with Christianity on like an equal ground.
There's one more thing that I really wanted to get to as well. Is just like all so it so like in Assassin's Creed games, like for a while they kind of backed off of this, but there's also a very minor part that is modern day stuff. But did you know about the modern day stuff going into this? And like, have you like thought much about the modern day stuff at all so far?
So I knew that there was a modern day stuff where everything like the reason why you're playing as this character in the first place is that you're playing someone in the present that is in this machine that makes them relive one of their past lives.
Well, it's like
Uh,
genetic memory, so it's like the whole premise is like you there are memories in you that are passed down from your ancestors, all that you can relive. All that's kind of the whole principle of the animus.
okay, yeah, with that, I have only encountered the modern day stuff twice in this game. The first time is when I first got to England, and the second time was one of the mysteries that I found actually was like a breach in the code or whatever for the Animus machine. And it was basically like a parkour challenge, like a little parkour puzzle where you have to like hop on blocks and shit.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done both of those things as well. Do you, do you do you have any questions about the modern day stuff? Because no,
Really don't care.
you really don't care.
I mean, like, I bought this game to play as a Viking, and it's met uh that standard pretty well so far. The modern day stuff, I'm just like, yeah, I know there's a bigger story going on here, but for the life of me, you could not get me interested. Um, so yeah,
Yeah, it was just like it. I mean, like having been away from it for so long, it seems like the only parts that really like it looks like the last thing that really mattered in the modern day stuff so far was what happened in Assassin's Creed 3. And then like there was something that happened at the end of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but apart from that it looks like there's not a whole lot much else going that's gone on with the modern day stuff since then.
yeah. So yeah, I'm not really that concerned about it. Apparently, they're in North America though, where they find Avor's body. I don't know if I should have given a spoiler warning or anything for that, but
It's early on in the game. It's not like game stuff.
yeah, it's not that big in game stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing how Eivor gets to North America. I mean, they teach you in history classes that Vikings were the first people to get to North America, but I'd still like to know what the story of that journey is. From like going from like being exiled from Norway, going to England, and then for some reason going to North America after that.
Yeah, and at some point it seems like you're gonna go back to Norway as well in the story. As it's like, oh, just based off of like there's this whole section of Norway that like the power level is like 280. So like you can't really go and do everything in Norway at the beginning of the game. So it'll be interesting seeing like I have a guess as to why you'll go back there, but it'll be interesting seeing like how the story fully develops moving forward.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that more as well.
All right. Let's see here. I don't think there's really much more that I want to talk about or like bring up. All here is just like, and we're hitting at half an hour right now, so I think that's probably a good way to end this. Is there anything else that you want to shout out or you want to specifically talk about?
I think could I spend a minute to talk about the characters in the game
Yeah.
because I have strong opinions about a lot of them.
All right. This will be
Like
fun.
I don't know why, but this game seems to be just full of assholes who want to like have at you with like it's like a big dick measuring contest between like you and half the characters. Now I'm further along in the game than you are, but man, there are just like some points in the game where I'm just like, you're kind of a jerk. I don't know why I'm even talking to you. It's like a lot of the interactions become I don't know, kind of toxic a bit, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't wait until I can fight this character or I get to like some other point. But I've just Eivor has a lot of disagreements with a lot of the characters in terms of establishing their new settlement, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how some of these relationships play out towards the end. Because yeah, I want to kill a lot of people that are really close to Eivor.
I mean, there's like two people that I don't really like so far. You have your, I'm gonna call him like your lieutenant Dag or whatever on your boat, and like every time like he shows up in a thing, he's just like, "Let me go and do this thing," and then it's just like, "No, you're gonna stay behind and do this other thing, and we're gonna try and persuade you into thinking it's the cool thing to do." And I'm just like, I feel like a little bad for him, but at the same time, like early on in the game, like Sigurd like tells them is just like, "Oh, you're gonna stay here and you're gonna all work under Eivor," and then like the second Sigurd walks away, he's just like, "Oh, I'd rather be doing something else." It's like, all right, never mind. I don't want you on my boat anymore.
Yeah,
All
no, he comes off with like no reason to actually dislike you, except for the fact that you're Sigurd's half brother or something, and or stepbrother, and Sigurd wants to put you in as second in command early on in the game, and then that's what Dag takes issue with. So like that's what I mean by like a dick measuring contest. It's like Dag is threatened by your brotherly connection, and like wants to pick fights with you over every little decision you make, and you can't make the right decision with him. I, it just doesn't work.
mean, my thing is like I'm actually playing as female Eivor, so like to me, like like as I've been playing the game as female Eivor, it reads more like as like a misogynist thing, so far. But like,
I think uh I've been playing as male Eivor, but I think female Eivor would have been a more interesting way to go with this. I went with the male one because I was just like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do that. But as the game progresses, I'm just like, man, I kind of wished I picked the female version of Eivor.
I think you can change it in the menus.
Maybe I'll take a look at it, but part of me is thinking it's just like, yeah, no, I feel like this story would play out a bit better if I was the girl version.
And also, like, when I got to Repton, there's like this guy that you're trying to make an alliance with, but he also has a brother. And man, that brother is creepy. It's like, why are we trying to make an alliance with these people? Are we gonna try and get rid of this guy? Because like the way like you first meet him like torturing a bunch of Saxons. I'm just like, I don't like this guy at all.
Yeah, Ivar is another character on my shit list of people that I don't like making alliances with in this game. It's like, why am I friends with you? You are a sadist. It's like a very scary one as well. Um and yeah, lots of issues with some of the characters and how assholish they are.
I mean, I like the characters in Bridgeshire,
Oh
though.
yeah,
They were cool. I like them.
yeah,
Oh,
no, the Granted Bridge Strider characters, they're very wholesome in comparison. They're like, "Oh, I lived the life of a thief, but our Jarl put me on the right path, and now I'm living a much better, more honest life." Or like, I was a slave or something, and then she freed me. It's like the characters all have a very strong personal connection with their Jarl and why they'll always look out for one another. Granted, one of them is
a
uh,
traitor.
a a traitor, and you have to figure that out. But it's not very obvious which one the traitor is, and you have to actually run like a whole detective story in order to figure out who it was. unless you look it up like I did.
Yeah, I looked it up as well. It's just like, well, like I went and tried to do the things, but then like it got to the point where it was just like, okay, well, you need to go and like talk to all these people and investigate their houses. So I'm just like, that doesn't really sound like what I wanted to do. But I went and like investigated the swamp and found the longboat and everything because there was like more stuff to do around there. But like, I was just like, I don't really want to like just talk to people and like do this whole detective type thing. So I just like I'm gonna look up who the right person is to accuse that and just move forward with it with this.
Yeah, no, I think the game tried to make like a good mystery setup, and they've tried to do that a couple times where you have to track down who you're trying to find or something like that, or look for clues in different areas. So there is a bit of a detective element um to that game. And I found that just like holding down the Odin site and having that big echo thing really helps with those sections where you have to like find the clues to move forward. But with that first one, where you have to like find the long ship, find the stolen paint, and all this other stuff, just to figure out the mystery, it's all open world stuff, so you don't know where exactly you should be looking.
When you were like tracking the paint, did you stop and like do the mystery with like the cats?
No, I didn't do the mystery with the cats.
It's such a big kitty. There's like a guy there's like two houses like a football fields apart. One's like plagued by rats, and the other one it has like this all crazy cat lady. And at one and like the whole thing is like you need to get the cats to go take care of the rats. But you get like as soon as like when you open the door to the cat house, like you get to pet the cat, and it's such a big kitty, and it made me so happy. I had to take a screenshot of it. I was like, "Oh, look at that good kitty."
You know, I do like that you can just pet the animals. And when Eivor goes back to his house and he sees the dog in front of his bedroom, he's like, "Who's a good boy?" I'm just like, yes, Eivor, who is the good boy here?
All right. So I think that's gonna wrap it up here for us today. I think this was just a fun, different thing to do. So yeah, we'll hopefully see y'all next week. And remember, you can follow us. You can follow us on YouTube, or you can find us on as a podcast on Spotify and iTunes. All right.